that.
That looks like a wall.
It's a good wall.
Hey, it's a cat. Wait, a cat. What a cat?
You see a cat? I don't see a cat.
What do you see?
You don't see a cat?
No, I see
Look at
blank.
that cat.
See what?
I see blank. Oh, I have to click Discord again.
Oh.
Yay, cat cam.
I thought we were going to have a philosophical debate about what a cat was.
Yeah, I was like, is he making a camo joke? Like, what's going on here?
Alrighty, you guys ready?
Each.
Sure. Yo.
Title screen, and take it away, Christopher Cat.
Is this audio going for anyone else?
Yes.
When I change cameras, does it just work? Does it just change the camera?
Yes.
It did,
Yeah.
except your
Am I
mic.
me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can hear me now? Too?
I can hear you now.
Good.
Take it away,
Cool,
Christopher.
cool. All right. So this week we are going to be talking about the multi/metaverse /verses
Multiverses?
multiverses, metaverses, both. Just all of them. Just all that stuff about everything that's been happening lately with movies and shows and games and television. It's all like everybody's meeting everybody. That's what we're talking about today. I'm Chris.
I'm
Hi, guys.
Nathan.
I'm Allan.
I'm Justin.
Good. You guys we should always introduce ourselves at the beginning of the stream, at the podcast. That's kind of like an important thing, right?
Right.
No, you.
Yeah, but I think it's important that we're confused about the order to do it in every time.
That is also very important.
Yeah.
Also, I brought news, a few pieces of news too that we can talk about at the end or at the beginning, whenever you guys want to talk about it.
You're the boss. Fling it in there.
Whenever it fits. But so start us off, Christopher.
So first I wanted to talk about Fortnite, because that seems to be like the start of this metaverse shit. I guess technically like Super Smash Brothers, right? Super Smash Brothers is like the first video game that introduced that concept of like, hey, let's take different characters from different universes, let's put them all together and have them interact / punch each other.
In terms of video games?
Yeah. Who Framed Roger Rabbit was probably before then, right?
Right.
How about Space Jam?
Space Jam.
Space Jam.
Space Jam.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit was way before Space Jam.
Yes. I think
Yeah,
that's
but
true.
was it as big?
Probably for the
To
time.
me it was. In my heart it was.
Yeah, probably for the time.
I believe the answer is yes.
Okay.
But Space Jam was all Looney Tunes. Who Framed Roger Rabbit, I think, was actually different, like, characters.
No, it was not
Oh,
Looney
that's-
Tunes. You guys are missing like 50% of the point of Space Jam.
You mean Michael?
There's
Jordan?
Looney Tunes in the NBA.
So Looney Tunes in the NBA. But there's nobody else besides for Looney Tunes in the NBA.
There was that
Um,
guy from Jurassic Park.
Yeah, there's that guy. There's what's his name?
Was
Oh
he
my God.
actually Wayne? Is it Wayne Knight? Is that his name?
Yeah, Wayne Knight.
Did he actually play Wayne Knight in the movie?
Who's
or
the
did
guy
he
from
play-
Groundhog Day? He was there too.
Bill Murray?
Bill Murray. Yeah.
You know that Bill Murray, Wayne Knight, and Michael Jordan all live in the same universe, right?
They do really? Oh, okay.
I believe that's called Our Universe.
Yeah. Roger Rabbit had Disney and something else. We haven't seen
think
Disney too much anywhere else.
Roger Rabbit I think it had Disney and Looney Tunes and a couple other things in it. Because I'm pretty sure there was
Like
a scene
old-timey cartoon stuff.
with Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck. I'm like 85% sure there was a scene.
There's that scene where they like break the rock, the wall, the brick wall at the end, and they walk out into like Toon World.
Yeah, that movie was pretty groundbreaking. I think that definitely did inspire Space Jam. In fact,
They-
I think they combined in my head the two movies.
They just recently did the Chip and Dale Rescue Ranger movie, and that has a bunch of like
yeah, it's got
multiverse stuff in it. It's
Ugly
got
Sonic.
Ugly Sonic in it.
Oh my god, Ugly Sonic!
He's handing out autographs, man. Shit's awesome.
He's a canon character now.
And they have like, you know, characters from He-Man in it, I think, too, and like other Saturday morning cartoons and shit. So because it's like a Who Framed Roger Rabbit thing where like they live in the real world and stuff.
Yeah, all the Disney properties that can fit in there, and I guess Ugly Sonic.
I've heard some
Ugly
people
Sonic.
say Ugly Sonic was a deliberate like marketing strategy, just to
Doubtful.
develop out buzz.
I could believe that conspiracy. I could.
I
Like,
think-
decent chance.
Because it
Maybe
seemed
like
like they turned it
30%.
around pretty quick, didn't they?
No,
With
no.
the fake-
See, the thing is, like, I can only believe it if they had to postpone it for a year, because I believe it was about a year that they had to delay to fix a CGI. So if
It was
they're
like
just
8 months.
yeah, so if they're just like, oh crap, we're not gonna hit this deadline. How do we get this extended? Release the shit trailer that we did like 8 months ago with Ugly Sonic.
It is, having been in boardrooms similar to that, it is probably way more likely that they just continued with like the ugly concept and just did the whole movie with the ugly concept, and nobody said, hey, it's kind of fucking weird that he has human teeth, right? It's kind of weird that he looks like a monster. It wasn't until I bet that wasn't on purpose. I bet like when it happened, there were people that were like, well, why didn't anybody tell us about this?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
No, that tracks.
I think there's like a 70% chance it was a situation of groupthink, and a 30% chance it was conspiracy to get.
I think there's another chance
Conspiracy would
in there
be cool.
somewhere. I think I agree with the gist of what you're saying, but there's another percentage that needs to be accounted for, and that is the fact that somebody was on a mission that it had needed to be Ugly Sonic. Somebody was trying to Steve Jobs Ugly Sonic.
I mean, that's part of the groupthink, right? There's got to be a groupthink leader. Someone's got to be doing the initial thinking.
No,
He
sometimes
just keeps pushing
sometimes the
further and
group-
further into ugly.
Sometimes the groupthink is just like the absence of that, though. But it's I think it could be either way. Like I think it's just two different cases.
Maybe.
But in terms of multiversal stuff, I think like at least comics did multiversal stuff before Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and I'm sure there's like books that did that shit too.
Did they?
Yeah. Wasn't when did like Civil War take place?
The Civil War?
No. Wait. Oh no. Wait. No. There was some shit.
That was in
DC
like
comics.
the early 2000s, I think.
Yeah,
Was it? Okay.
There's like a series called Road to Civil War, which was pretty recent, and then that turned to Civil War. But there's
2006 to 2007.
I swear comics must have done that shit like way before, because like all the different like Spider-Man and stuff I feel like met before, at least before the 90s, if not earlier. And then there was like the DC Marvel crossover, which I think was the 90s, could have been the 80s.
Yeah. 85. There was Crisis in DC, right?
Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah.
Before
And
that.
that's kind of counts, right?
Wow,
I
I'm
believe so,
surprised.
because I think there's at least one scene where like all the Flashes are speed forcing each other.
Crisis on
There-
Infinite Earth was definitely one of the first. It was a crossover run. It was like multiple universes coming together and like smashing into each other, and
A literal crossover.
literal crossover. Yeah, 85 to 86.
That's very specific comics knowledge. Like what year that happened. If you asked me to guess like that,
I had to Google it. I had to remember what Crisis was, and two, I had to actually punch in
So,
Google.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit came out in 1988. But again, that was more like a metaverse than a multiverse. It was a universe where all of these different meta properties all lived together.
Okay, so
Because the
go ahead.
the multiverse itself is just like a science concept, right? It's just like a concept of string theory and like physics because there's an infinite universe where an infinite number of things can happen, and there's like the possibility that as you make different decisions or as things play out differently in the universe, it creates these ripple effects that create alternate universes where those decisions were,
Right.
played out
I've heard
in
it
different
described.
ways.
I've heard it described a few times. Like one way I've heard it described is like literally any time any probability resolves, whatever the outcome was, new universe. Which means like it is impossible to comprehend like the degree to which that's happening all the time, because like Yeah, it's just impossible to comprehend. I think I've also heard some people talk about it in the context of that big particle accelerator in Switzerland, like CERN.
The Large Hadron Collider.
Right. And there's this one particle, I think maybe it's like the Higgs boson or something, and they're trying to figure out how much it weighs. And then it's like, depending on whether or not it weighs, like, they had some experiment. They're like, okay, if it weighs this amount, that probably means there's only one universe, because I don't remember the justification for that one. I kind of remember the other one. If it weighs this other amount, that means there's probably more universes, because like it's like that means it's going into the other universes or something. And then somehow what they measured was like right in between the two, and they're just like, oh, okay, I guess we don't know.
In terms of first step into multiversal stuff, I don't think I've read any of his stuff, but what about Lovecraft and Lovecraftian monsters? Aren't they like by their nature like multiversal and like fly in and out of shit?
I thought they were other dimensional.
Multidimensional?
Yeah.
Now is that
not
the same
quite
thing?
Multiversal.
So I don't think
Wait.
that's the same thing, right? Because different dimensions would be like, well, I don't know. I guess
Well,
they
there's
could
there's a connection. So it's like, say you have two different universes. Both universes would have, just say the normal spatial universes, say both have like 3 dimensions of space, right? So then if you have both of them, then that's kind of like 6 dimensions of space, right? But because they're separated from each other, then it's kind of like each one just has 3. You could
you
also
have
think of
multiple
that.
dimensions in one universe. Is that what you're trying to say? Like,
Well, I'm trying to say, like, you could think of that as one universe with 6, but it's just there would be like a wall, so like those 3 can't see those 3 or something. Like, it's kind of the same thing. So then if your universe has more dimensions that you can like go into, like, yeah, I don't know, they're not exactly the same thing, but it's like if this universe has more dimensions, then that means you could put other universes there if you wanted to.
Yeah, I've always kind of thought like the delineation between multiverses versus multidimensional is like multiverses have the same parameters. Like they have the same laws of physics, they have the same like, you know, governing principles with them. And then multidimensional can be just on its head, different shit, just like up is down, left is right, like etc. Like so you could have completely bizarre creatures that could not exist in our plane of existence.
Can we have that
like,
anyway in a different universe?
You could have a multiverse of different dimensions. Wait, am I phrasing that right? Like, so you have like one universe and that spans all the dimensions live within that bubble of the universe, and then you have multiverses which have their own like different dimensions within their universe. That's how at least I conceptualize it.
So we can have an alternate dimension with magic, but we can't have an alternate universe with magic. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. So like if there was a multiverse, there would be a multiverse Allan, but he couldn't summon fire with his asshole or anything like that.
Okay.
like this Allan can.
Right.
Yeah,
Multidimensional, we can.
I think there's
Yeah. If there's an alternate dimension Allan, then he might be able to shit fire.
The laws are different.
Excellent.
Well, yeah, I think my perspective is kind of different because I mean dimensions that's actually kind of like a pretty formal concept, like what a dimension is.
Sure.
Right. It's like our normal space has 3 dimensions. It's like up, down, side, side, and then forward, backwards. Right. That's like 3 different independent ways you can go. So, say you just added another dimension to our universe, then you could have a 4-dimensional thing. But that wouldn't be enough dimensions to have 2 separate universes separated, like independent from each other.
Yeah, I guess it really depends on what you
Dimensions
define a
exist on
dimension
top
to
of
be.
each other rather than like next to each other, the way that multiverses
Yeah, I
do,
mean,
guess.
like our universe has multiple dimensions. It has to, right? Because we have all these different degrees of freedom that we can go in independently. Like, so our universe has multiple dimensions, and another universe would have also its own dimensions. But if a host universe had enough dimensions for both, then they could both be in that one, and maybe we wouldn't know about it, right? So it's like if a universe had 6 dimensions, that universe could hold 2 parallel things that would think of themselves as universes. Maybe that's what it is.
Is that like matter antimatter type of thing? where they're both kind of there and they don't really know that they're there, or like dark
Maybe
matter?
you can think of it. Okay, have you ever heard of Flatland?
No.
Okay,
Flatland?
Flatland. Flatland was a book where someone conceptualized a 2D world, and how the 3D world would present in the 2D world. Nate, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. So
Yeah.
basically what he's saying is it's this whole world where all the beings that live in it are all these very complicated flat shapes. So all the beings in Flatland, they just see a horizon line and they see stuff on that horizon line that gets closer or near, and they have their whole world in that space.
Sure.
So if that was a whole universe, imagine if you could have like a bunch of those layered on top of each other and they'd never be able to see each other. They'd all just have their own independent existence.
Yeah, or like if something three-dimensional passed through Flatland, it would present to Flatland completely differently than what we conceptualize it as.
Right. It would be like a a sphere going through Flatland would start as a point, and then it would grow, and then it would shrink. And in Flatland, like that would be magic. That wouldn't be possible normally. And yeah, that's kind of, so that Flatland would have 2 dimensions, and then the third dimension, that's where you could start stacking them up with each other. And I guess that means
a movie about Flatland.
Yeah, actually, if there was that means if there was a 4th dimension, you could just stack up multiverses that way. Actually,
I mean, don't we have? Isn't 4th dimension temporal?
yeah, arguably that's a 4th dimension.
Yeah.
Or I know a tesseract is a 4th dimension.
Something else measurable that we can move through.
Yeah, and it's kind of like independent from the other ones too. Like you can take a video. A video is like 3-dimensional, right? Because the screen has 2 dimensions and then it changes.
Sure.
So you could imagine like a video would be the same, like, and also like if you ever see like a CAT scan on a screen where it like it like kind of scans through somebody,
Right.
That's also 3-dimensional. It's like 2 dimensions, and then the third one goes like that's, and so if we're in our 3-dimensional space and we also have time, that's arguably 4-dimensional.
Interesting.
Yeah, but like potentially there could be a 4th spatial dimension that would be something we can't even conceive of.
Yeah.
Diagonal movement, yeah.
Diagonal. Sure.
I actually,
Diagonal dimension.
so one way that I like to think about it, in terms of bread.
God, here we go.
So if you have like if you have a big loaf of bread, that's a 3-dimensional thing. And then when you cut the bread into slices, the slices become more or less 2-dimensional. Not technically, but like mostly 2-dimensional.
Right.
So a 4-dimensional loaf of bread, when you cut it into slices, you'd end up with a normal loaf of bread. The slice of the 4-dimensional bread would be a 3-dimensional loaf of bread.
You're saying if you had a 4-dimensional, but only if you cut off that 4th dimension. What if the dimension that you cut off was like the width dimension?
So here's the thing. I think you can cut along any dimension, and you will end up with a 3-dimensional loaf of bread. That's the trippy thing.
Technically, yeah. But it wouldn't be your 3-dimensional loaf of bread.
Wait,
It might be, the 3rd dimension might be in like the weird dimension that you can't normally see. So maybe you'd just be screwed. You'd end up with like scrambled up like nonsense bread.
Nate, you know what?
Critical.
The most important thing that I've learned from that example is that you can't do that with injera bread.
Too many holes in it.
Yeah, the bread has to be in a kind of a cubic shape. That's true. To slice like that. So from that though, I just think of it as like a very dense bread.
Sure.
It's like so dense, like when you slice it, it just kind of expands and like.
Sure.
That's how I think of it.
So back to multiverses. I've been thinking about this a lot because there's been so many games that have come out recently where they're just like mashing this stuff together. They're just like, there was Everything Everywhere All at Once, the Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. There's Multiverses, which is coming out soon.
Yeah, that's like out in alpha now, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's an
Yeah.
alpha. Yeah. Do you think this was just the natural progression? This is just where we were ending up anyway.
I think Into the
Fortnite
Spider-Verse.
is insane.
I think Into the Spider-Verse like fucked people's brains, and now like everybody's just obsessed with that shit, or at least everyone in Hollywood is.
No,
open
well,
their.
that's partly true, but this has all been a progression of like the nostalgia reboot stuff. It's like, all right, we just want to see the stuff we used to love. All right, now more of it. All right, now reboot everything. All right, now make everyone kiss. All right.
I don't think so. I hard disagree on that. I don't think that this is a nostalgia thing. There's a lot of characters here and a lot of things that are being presented in ways that don't trigger that nostalgia other than only a name.
Well, I'm not saying it's I'm not saying it's coming from nostalgia. I'm coming that same sort of, energy and decisions and all that sort of stuff where it's just like, let's just keep rebooting stuff. Let's just jam shit together. Let's just keep doing that. I think that's a bunch of this stuff is from that natural progression. That being said, a lot of this stuff also predates recent trends, and maybe they're just, I don't know, someone did some multiversal thing and now everyone wants to hop on the bandwagon.
So you think this is more of a trend than anything else? You don't think this is just like us moving in this being more normal kind of way, like this being more every day?
I think it's both.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably both.
I think it's 100% a trend. I think people are already getting sick of it, and I think it's going to go away within 6 months. Maybe one more set of movies, and then it's just like, people are sick of it. No more.
Okay. Yeah, I can maybe see that in movies. I don't think the Fortnite thing is ever going away. I think the Fortnite thing is our first step into
stable.
like the Ready Player One universe. Like, it's just turned into everything's in there. It has everything apart from. I haven't found any Disney in there. I've only found Disney offshoots like Star Wars
They have
and
Marvel characters.
Right. They offshoots like Star Wars and Marvel, but not like Mickey Mouse or whatever. No actual
no
Disney
proper
characters.
Disney. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I just think people like certain characters and they just want to see that character and everything. Like I said this like one of the.
It's 100% pander. It's all pander.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So what I think of is just that scene in like that. What was it like that? Final. That big where they're like fighting Thanos. There's that big battle scene at the end of it. I actually forgot even the title, but there's that scene where all those portals open and people are just like, oh, more this character. Oh, this character. This character. Huh? Endgame, right?
Endgame.
I honestly, as I was watching that scene, I just sort of felt like they were just kind of attempting to like manipulate me. I just like there's like, oh, like open this here, feel a thing about this, feel a thing about this, feel a thing about this. Like I don't know, like it didn't seem the actual narrative meat to it seemed very thin at that point. It was just like there's this, like here's this thing. It's like they were making a salad or something.
They thought that they were all gone.
I too.
Characters don't have the same knowledge that you do of the world.
I mean, I don't know. It just it seemed like they were. That was like the payoff of the movie when they sort of had everything intersect with everything else. That was like the big like payoff moment. And I was kind of wondering, it's like what makes that so substantial? Like and I was actually kind of wondering, like I thought it was cool. Like I wasn't completely immune to the effect of it, but like I also know that just like I think Allan's basically right. It was like a now kiss moment. They're like, okay, like it's like they're kind of jamming the dolls together and like I don't know.
Now, all that being said, I've said this a couple times when I've like quit WoW, is that like if I could play my WoW characters in other games, I would definitely do it. Because I just like those characters. And like you just like Batman, you just like Spider-Man, you just want to see him in a bunch of shit. It's like, oh, Super Smash Brothers, where the fuck's Batman? Like Mortal Kombat, apparently, I think Batman's in there.
Wait, do your WoW characters have unique personalities, or are they just?
He's
like,
talking about Thrall.
Yes, my WoW characters have unique personality.
No, like your personal player characters have Yes, okay.
Yes.
Not Thrall, not main story characters. Your personal characters.
Yes,
I think we should unpack this a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys don't. You guys are just little robots.
Go on. No, they're mostly just tokens.
Tokens for who?
For me to play the game with.
So you're the personality?
They don't have a personality. They are a series of buttons that I push to make things on the screen explode.
I think I sort of had some sort of like characterization for my first WoW character, but I don't know if I did for my second one.
I don't know if WoW. Maybe like the first WoW character. I don't know.
Yeah, like
They were they were avatars for us to play,
You guys spent
except for you.
10 plus years playing with those guys. You
I
went on
did
adventures
actually.
with them.
I did actually
Yeah.
roleplay when I was leveling the warrior, which famously became Arnold. All my warrior abilities I linked to macros where he would yell stuff.
I remember that. That was good shit. I think I did the same thing when I made Warrior, but it got old pretty quick, so I took them off.
Yeah, you have to make them
Blocked
rude.
real quick.
That's the trick.
Like I have some nostalgia for some of my characters, like, but I don't think I give them like personality traits or anything like that.
That's just weird, man.
It's just weird. Okay, all right, maybe we're just different. I don't know.
It's just weird. Like you can't, like, I don't know. Like I'm not an elf. What am I gonna do? Like my avatar
So you
can't
can't
be an elf.
pretend to be.
No, I can be an elf, but I can't pretend to be an elf. Like we can cast like some spells and like turn each other to like elves
Wait.
and shit.
You can be an elf, but you can't pretend to be an elf.
Correct. Like if we find
Is
It
that not
sounds like you
backwards?
could
Wait,
only
am I mishearing?
no,
Be an elf
no.
if you're an elf.
No. Like we can go find a spell in some like tomb, and then we can transubstantiate each other to like elves and
We
stuff.
cannot.
Well, if we find I think
Isn't that actually the act of pretending to be an elf? Just imagining that possibility, isn't that pretending to be an elf?
I mean, I suppose. I don't know.
And you can't think and feel like maybe what an elf Selly would think and feel, what an elf Allan would think and feel.
Yeah, we can like
think
role
so.
play and everything, but like that's still me. That's not the character.
Well-
I'm projecting that into the character, I suppose, but that's not coming from the character, right? No,
I don't know.
Oh, I'm actually remembering it a little bit now. I'm remembering there definitely was a character for my first WoW character. I'm remembering that. So just on a lark, I chose my rogue to be to disenchant stuff, to do enchanting. His professions were enchanting and tailoring. I don't know why. That's just what I picked. But then when you disenchant stuff, you get all these things that sound like drug names. You get like strange dust, magic dust, like pixie dust, like fantastic
Crystals.
dust. Yeah, like all these disenchanting reagents sound like drugs. So I remember I would just have my rogue like kind of find like shady parts of Stormwind, and he'd like sit there, and then I'd just like
Disenchant in a corner somewhere.
and when people walk by, I'd be like, "Hey, want to buy some shift clipped like strange dust?"
Yeah, okay.
So
Like if you play on an RP realm and you're RPing regularly and you come up with a backstory for your character, I can understand a little more. But for the most part, I didn't do that. I just got on and I played the game. Like, yeah, I don't know.
I think both are possible.
I think
Like
it's-
it was an avatar for you. It was your like you said, your token into like accessing this world.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, for most like I have a bunch of like random characters.
Wait, sorry. I just imagine like for Justin it's a token in his way to access this world, but Selly thinks that he's like intruding on the thoughts and mind of an elf woman who lives here. He's like, "You are mine now."
No,
he's just watching. You know.
No, she's
just
a
watching.
friend. No, she's a friend, and I'm lending her strength through. I don't know.
Interesting.
Did you see yourself as the light when you played on your priest? Were you like, Allan is the light. He's the one who sends me the powers and gives me the ability.
I don't know, maybe, but it's funny you should mention that. The only two characters of mine that I would prescribe a personality to are Selly, my priest, and Narasaga, my paladin, both of whom use the light.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe
Channeled through their
maybe.
Damn.
maybe I am the light. I wouldn't consider myself
Wow.
a deity.
This is more insight into like people who play priests in WoW than I've ever had before.
Yeah, man.
Sorry, but what were you saying, Allan?
The light is very important. Everybody bless the light. I don't know.
So do you think classes in WoW is like actually some sort of like personality profile? I know like people think this for like instrument choices in like orchestras and stuff. But
I think just choices in general probably are some kind of look into a personality, right?
Sure.
Although recently I've been playing a lot more games as a villain. I've been trying more to just be the like play like RPGs and stuff as the bad guy because I just had such a hard time doing it for so long. Like I couldn't play like KOTOR and like make the bad choices because I was like, this feels too terrible. I don't want to do this.
We did that one D&D campaign, remember? And we slaughtered a house full of orphans.
I remember
Jesus
you and
Christ.
Matt slaughtering a house full of orphans. For sure, remember that. Remember that very
I
vividly.
had a very
Cannot
difficult
remember
time
that.
reconciling that with my character. I was thinking of my character as being that like young guy from like The Sopranos. Like what's that guy?
Yeah, I think most of us were thinking gang evil, but Allan and Matt were thinking serial killer evil.
Weren't you guys supposed to be chaotic neutral? That is
No,
not...
that was supposed to be the evil campaign.
Oh, was it? Okay, all
Yeah.
right. Maybe I wasn't there for that one. Okay.
I remember throwing a burning zombie through a bar window because they wouldn't serve me.
I remember I thought of this what I conceived to be a brilliant plan to pretend to be the bouncer at this like tavern and collect a cover charge at the door.
Is that what you were doing? You just kept going to people and saying, you owe me money.
and I think that somehow pissed off the DM. Like she like made my plan like fail. I didn't even pretend to be like a fake bouncer and get a cover charge at the door.
He just walked up to every single person in the bar and said, you owe me money. And they go, what? And he goes, you owe me money. Never once said that he was the bouncer.
No, I totally did.
Did you threaten to break their kneecaps or some shit?
No, the thing is, I think if I actually tried intimidation, it would have worked. But I just like didn't. I tried like a charisma check, and my character just like had no charisma, so I just failed every time. Oh my god.
So,
Do you think that career choices are downstream from clusters of personality traits?
I think most, as Christopher said, most decisions probably have something to do with that.
Yeah.
I think career choices are probably a little bit more influenced from external
Oh, you think so?
forces, right? Yeah, because like money matters. Like we live in a society where
that's
money
true. That's pretty
matters and
true.
you need to make money to survive. So you want to have like if you are making choices for your career, that is definitely a factor.
Yeah. I saw a tweet today that said, engineering is the worst discipline and a hotbed for extremism, conspiracy theories, crackpot ideologies, and terrorism.
I know a lot of engineers that would
Yeah.
like to argue with that.
I know a lot of engineers that kind of fits, though, also. Like,
the thing with a career. Sorry, go ahead.
No, like I don't know. I just have mixed feelings about the tweet. On one hand, like I'm offended. On the other hand, I kind of agree.
So in terms of career, like you might, you have to make. Oh, I guess you don't have to. But let's say we're talking about a person who goes to middle school, high school, college, makes some decision in college for their future career, leaves college, graduates college, then starts their career. I would say that there's a good chunk of people in college that pick a career, possibly even do grad school for it, but don't really know what the day-to-day is like. And you might have picked something in college, envisioning something else. So maybe that personality trait matters, your whatever you envision it to be as. But then you go to the job and you're just like, oh, I just, sit here and yell at people because I'm now middle management or something.
Because that's what most jobs have turned into.
Yeah, I know, and I know at least a couple of veterinarians that are like that. They're like, I'm going to help
Keeping
animals, and then you just get yelled at all day.
Yeah. Or it's like,
Sucks.
or like you and an engineer, you're probably just thinking like, yeah, we're going to go in there and design some cool shit. I'm going to CNC everything. Everything's going to fit perfectly. And then you're just like, all right, now for our 11th meeting today, let's look at, shall we pick 3/4 millimeter lug nuts or, 1/8 inch lug nuts?
Important choices.
The great part is having like a endless series of decisions like this, and then fast forwarding, and then seeing that all the choices you made were wrong. That's the
Yeah.
that's the fun part.
Okay. Like the thing I like about programming and computer science in general is that like that happens all the time, and it's just accepted. Like you just need to iterate. Like there's no avoiding it. You just gotta keep going and redo it.
That next satellite, that one, that's the one
Guys, we'll get it on the next one.
That one was the trial run.
Yeah, I mean, that shit happens. Like, when you have so many people working on so many different parts of a project, and then when you start putting those pieces of the project together, you see it all the time in fucking game development, where it's like, I don't know what this thing is, and it looks like all the pieces are broken, and then when you start to fit them together, you realize, like, that they don't fit together so nicely, or maybe, like, one piece causes issues with other pieces. You know, that's just, you need to accept that.
Yeah, there was like a Digino Gaming that I watched recently, and they talked about like canceled games, and one of the developers of one of them was like, "Yeah, we came up with concept and we thought it was gonna be awesome, but it felt like shit to play."
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, that definitely happens a lot.
Sure.
It's
But-
hard. It's not like in like a movie or something. You can curate the experience. You can force somebody to see and feel and think what you're presenting to them. But with an entertainment medium, and you're like giving somebody the control and able to do that, like it's just such a fucking different change or big change.
Sure. Some success, though, in certain fields probably has something to do with personality. You know, someone who's straight no lifes, just, you know, sits down and codes, probably gonna get farther than someone who's more, maybe not. Maybe I shouldn't say farther, but probably will experience a early burst of progression in their career versus someone who is more lax or likes to party or something. Like if you're just gonna grind out 4 extra hours of unpaid work every day, most people probably won't keep up with that.
So,
But those people aren't going to be going places.
So,
Like just because they do that doesn't really. Yeah.
my opinion on people that are really going to be doing that kind of thing, it's like, it's kind of a dice. So say you're trying to manage a project, and then you've got somebody like that on the project. It's kind of a dice roll, like if they're even going to make the right thing at all. And then like I don't know, maybe they actually are genius and they always make the right thing, and then that person like that's right, that would be like a rocket ship and they'd be very successful. But like that's actually going to have that is much less common than somebody that's going to look like they're doing that. And a lot of the time they're just going to be spiraling in on like the wrong thing, or they're going to be building this whole framework of concerns and addressing all of them when like what you're actually trying to do is just one very small fraction of that whole thing that
Sure.
they're doing. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Like, yeah, that's more like what's going to happen more often, I think.
I would still say that there's maybe not program is a bad example, but like just to get your foot in the door as like a doctor going through med school, like you have to be a very, very specific type of, you know, most of them from my experience, at least in med school, were the work hard, play hard type. They're extremely studious, extremely bright, but also like, you know, and I guess I shouldn't say work hard, play hard. What am I trying to say? Extremely studious,
work hard.
I guess, but also,
no play.
also what you would prescribe to be like that shark mentality, like fucking
There's definitely like a competitive aspect there, right? It's like,
thank you.
yeah.
And they're pretty brutal about it. Same thing with like lawyers and shit. Like they're fucking just like brutal people with brutal personalities.
Apparently at med school, like some of these med schools, if you're in there, you've actually really got to watch your back. Say you ask somebody for their notes. Some of these schools, they actually do these class rankings, and they'll like cut out the bottom 10% of the class like every year or something like that, right? And like in this kind of situation, if you ask somebody for notes, they will sabotage the notes before they give them to you. Like that's actually what happens there. Like,
law school was the same. In law school, people would like there's like half the people were nice and wouldn't do stuff, and then of the other half, like maybe 25% didn't do anything, and then like the other 25%, they would like hide books in the library, or like do the note thing. If anyone asks for notes, they just be like, oh, I didn't like take notes, or here, like, here's my shitty notes, and they'd be wrong or doctored or something.
Yeah, it's crazy to me that these models in education have persisted for so long. Because, like, I think Netflix and Microsoft and a bunch of other companies have tried it and said, like, oh, this was a stupid fucking idea. Let's not do this anymore.
Do what?
Like, have that, like, sort of competitive model where, like, only keep all the good ones, and, like, the ones at the bottom kind of shuffle out.
Well, there are still firms that do that. That just, like, they don't care about
Are
the
there
turnover
still?
rate. Yeah. They don't.
So I kind of have mixed feelings about this because, like, I know in high school, I didn't give a shit about school, but I was very, very competitive about Halo. I just wonder, like, what if I was trying to get on, like, a class ranking? Like, I'd never even heard that suggested. My whole school career, I'd never even heard anybody in any kind of academic authority position suggest that anything like a school ranking, like, even could exist. I'd never heard of it. I'd seen some stuff like that in, like, maybe anime or something, and
Harry Potter.
but to me that was like some, like, fiction thing. Like, that wasn't actually real. But one thing I've realized, like, for a lot of people that's reality, and that's what they're, like, applying their competitive energy to. And I'm like, I wonder if that actually would have, like, helped me actually, like, care about school, because I didn't care about school, like, at all. So
Yeah, I cared about school largely so my numbers on my tests would be higher than my friends.
See, Nate, you could have been applying your competitive attitude there.
Yeah.
And I see that's
Yeah.
the thing. Even if companies and stuff try and stop that, in school, like, if you already got the job, you got the job. But most people go, no, not all people. Most people go to, like, those types of schools to land, like, a really good job, and they'll fucking, like, they'll kill each other to do it, whether or not, rules are put in or not, or you enforce stuff, or you try to
Do we need this? Do we need this? Do we need to do that? Do we not have enough spots? Do we not have enough places that people can learn?
You're always
all?
going to
Like,
have you're always going to have limited resources in some capacity. Like, you can't just expand forever. You can't have one school that takes in the entire populace of the United States or something like that. You're always going to be limited by something, and therefore, like, you probably want to do the best you can with the people that you have to some degree.
I think that's a
But
fallacy.
I don't know.
think that's true. I think that the amount of people that want to be lawyers, that want to go through that path strictly to do it, like, I know that it's an incredibly competitive field because there aren't a lot of places that teach it.
It's not
Same thing
it's
with,
not
like,
even-
med
it's not
school and
even-
stuff. It's
not
like
even
you
less
have to
about-
go to a specific place in order to actually get a job or actually be able to use that, right? Like, it's like if you go to this, like, med school that nobody's heard of, your chances of getting a job with that degree and actually being able to do anything in that field are incredibly low.
It's not incredibly low, but let's say you want the job at Microsoft, or let's say Google. Like, you want a job at Google, right? Even if the schools have unlimited spacing, Google will have limited spacing. So no matter the resources at the school level, at the employment level at Google, there's only going to be 5 spots. So it doesn't matter if you want to educate infinite number of people. They're all educated for those 5 spots. So you're going to have to do something to stand out, and most people do, the way they do that is try and get, like, 4.0 plus and all the other shit. And the better they do and the worse everyone else does, like, it's still a net positive for them.
Well, I mean, what I'm wondering is, what if there just wasn't any limit or constraint, and, like, even if there wasn't, I think what it would come down to is motivation. Like, I think just in a situation with no constraints, like, you'd still want to have the system that's going to be the most motivating to the most people. And I think that would mean, like, trying to have some competitive things that are going to motivate people that like that, and some non-competitive things that are going to be motivating for people that don't. And
Yeah.
I think that, I don't know. A lot of the schools that I went to were just, like, had really no touch of that at all. So boring.
I mean, school resources are pretty lackluster right now, especially the amount of money that we're putting into schools. It's pretty terrible.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, there's definitely room for that. There's definitely places for that. I don't really know what. I don't know. College seems like, unless you're going to a specialty field, kind of like a big waste. For
like
most of the time.
the numbers tell a different story. Like the average college grad earns $30,000 more than the average high school grad. On that's an
4
average.
years. There's a 4-year difference there, though. Are they going by like the same?
I
time
think they go
period,
by
the
lifetime
same...
earning. Well, I'd have to look at the study again, but I think they go by lifetime earnings.
Also, $30,000 a year is quite a difference.
That's big.
$30,000 in general. I don't necessarily agree with you, because I don't think most people are making more than $30,000 a year coming out of college or coming out of high school.
Yeah, I mean, like this is
What?
career averaged, right? Like if it's career averaged, you're gonna advance further in your career post college than you would as a simple high school grad, where you're probably gonna be close to college grad level, and then flatten out.
And entry level college grad jobs, I'm thinking is around 45 or 50, right?
No.
Entry level with college grad.
No.
What
I can tell you from experience, no. Like,
Depends on the field.
It's like 30 to 32, and it's like depending on the field. It's entirely dependent on the field.
Yeah, like if you're a software engineer, you're probably looking at 60K. I can't speak for anything else, honestly.
A software engineer, 60K out of college.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you can buckle down and do all those like interview prep nerd things, like what's it, like leak code, if you can do that stuff and you can practice that stuff in college, like when the market is hot, you can pretty much ask for like very silly numbers. Like
Right, yeah. If you land a job in a FANG company, a Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google company, you're probably making 6 figures right out the gate. But everybody else, you're just standard level software engineer going to any company, probably like 50, 60K.
Interesting.
Well, yeah, but not just those specific companies though, but the companies that kind of style themselves like those companies too, right?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Like, and there's kind of a...
Yeah, but I mean, you already have to
start.
be that level of profitability to offer those kind of salaries, generally.
Or just a startup.
Or like, yeah, maybe if you start
its
up with like insane amounts of
capital,
angel investor capital.
Interesting.
I mean, one example would be something like Uber, right? Like that kind of thing.
Sure.
Anyway,
I don't know how we got here, but
So we
Talking about
started
competitiveness
at
in
WoW,
school.
Multiverse, which led to WoW, which led to classes, which led to careers, which led to college, which led to this conversation.
interesting. This is
So how about that Fortnite?
yeah.
so I do have talking about like tech and college. I have an opinion, and I think there's like, to learn tech, I think there's just really one thing that you need to learn, and if you do that in college, great. If you do that before college, great. Like wherever you do it, great. It's like the one thing you need to learn, and that's just like you need to just learn how to not just teach yourself, but have confidence that if you do that, you can have a finished product that's like worthwhile, like by teaching yourself. And then like, cause that's like, I don't know, with that, you can just get any other skill you need basically. Honestly, it's a combination of like, it's some kind of combination of curiosity and confidence.
Yeah, like learning to learn is definitely a skill on its own. If you have that skill, like you could probably do whatever you want.
And I feel like just giving people the chance to sort of have a moment where they kind of like click into gear. It's like they looked up a tutorial, they applied it, they're actually happy with the outcome. you can keep on doing that. There's no limit to like the amount of times you can do that kind of thing, and then you just keep on getting related skills to that kind of activity, and then like there you go. And that's like, I don't know. That honestly, if you keep on doing that kind of thing, it's better than college. But I think there's a lot of people that don't really know where to start. It's like they haven't seen the tools in action or anything.
Yeah,
and then it's like you'll see that for the first time in college.
There's tons of places to see that now. Like you can literally Google and YouTube everything. You can figure out how most tools work through that. I could see like maybe if you're just like completely unfamiliar with, hey, what do I even look for here? But I think if you have a vague idea of what you want to do, I think you can find so many.
But it's not just the availability; it's like the feeling of ownership of it. So it's like, say you see some community, they're all excited about something that they're doing. That's like their thing. So how does that become your thing, right? It's like it's like going through it and actually being like happy about the outcome of it or something, right? It's like there's one more step in availability, but availability is important though.
I think I agree with that. Like, I think there's a lot of value in being spoon-fed a large amount of information. Like, going through school, fundamental level of knowledge about something, and you can use that to build on from there there on out. Like, whereas if you're just picking up things as you go, you might be missing big chunks in that. Like, I'm doing a lot of front-end development now, and I feel like I need to go back to school for it or something. I'm picking up bits and pieces here and there, and I just feel like I have big gaps that I don't really necessarily know what to fill on. And that's just my personal experience. Maybe other people have had different experiences with different things, but like, I looking back, I see a lot of value in the education I got in general.
I think not everyone needs college, but it does teach you pretty invaluable thinking skills that I personally didn't really either A, couldn't grasp, B, didn't care about, or C, didn't receive in high school. I'm not sure which one of those it is. And even through college, like I kind of half-assed college. And it wasn't really till, like, I guess besides like math, it wasn't really until like grad school where I actually started to like actually learn how to read and write.
Yeah, man. I totally agree. Reading and writing's hard.
So I think there is definitely value in that, but it also depends. Like, it depends what you want to do. Like, there's a big need for people that have gone to trade school, and B, I think there's a big boom in the trade school industry too. There's fucking carpenters and blacksmiths that are making fucking well into the six figures in tons of places just because there's no one else.
I read something about the shortage of carpenters recently, and I was actually very amused by that because somehow I had gotten the opposite impression. I had this impression that there were so many carpenters that like and every single one of them was all starting like a YouTube channel, and then there was just this complete saturation of like carpenter influencers, and I just had this perception of this like rising wave of carpenters, and then it's nice to learn that was just a complete illusion. Like, it's like I guess it's a big country. You can have like tons of carpenter documentaries and like not enough carpenters anymore.
Yeah. Carpenter YouTubers are pretty sick though. Like, I have seen some of that. It's pretty nice to watch, at least when you find a good video.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's very satisfying.
I watched a New Zealand guy like carve wood for a few hours. Just fucking dope.
Yeah, watching someone like carve out a dovetail and then like stick it together. Good shit.
All right, I think we should probably wind up near the end here.
Sure.
I want to. We need to have. I think college costs too much money. I think the reason why we have a huge dip in trades, like people who actually learn trades, is because why would anybody learn a trade where they can make more or just as much money by playing video games on the internet? Like, influencer culture has definitely created this huge gap. Like, you ask any kid today, and yeah, sure, it was like rock stars and shit like 10 years ago, but like. That's just it. It just has become like, be yourself and you will get tons of money from people on the internet eventually.
I think there's something to that. I think there
I don't think that there's a problem with any of this stuff innately. I think the problem is that like we force people to make a shit ton of money in order to survive, but then we don't give them any means to actually make that money or any actual like any real path forward for it.
I think it's I think part of the issue with it's like it's turning into this like resort type thing, right? It's like all these colleges are competing by on like amenities, and then they're all building all these like really nice. It's like they're all. It's kind of the point where all these different colleges are basically building out these like resorts.
Yeah,
And
because
like
it's about money. It's about getting people in there. They're paying like $80,000 a year just to be there. Why? Like it's fucking ridiculous.
and it's like, and I think part of that is like it has to do with this perception where like, okay, you're only gonna get this brief window where life is actually fun, and then like that's your chance, and then you better get in the nice resort for that window, and then after that it's just drudgery, and I think that it's like that anxiety that's like driving that, and I think it's like people should just be trying to prepare like. I don't know. I just like to
You
see
think
like
it's wait. I have a question. You think it's the anxiety that's driving it, like that people are requiring schools to go into this resort like
Right.
direction rather than schools doing it because they see that it makes them the most money? And
well, it's the same. It's the supply and the demand kind of meeting in the middle, right? It's like that people want to like. It's like they have their kid and their kid wants to have like this experience and like they want to make it happen and like they're. I don't know. It would be better to kind of have a more of an emphasis on like a desirable life after the education, where it's like where if maybe you save some money, things would be easier, and then like that's the target, right? Like that's what actually makes sense. But we're not like on target like that right now, and
because people aren't
Yeah.
going there to save money. They're going there to spend it and to be put in debt for.
I think people have different goals going to college. Some people go there for the experience. Some people go there to learn about this cool thing they really like. Some people go there to build a career. And we have this big mishmash where we probably should clarify those goals a little more or encourage people to do so a little more. If you're going to school for an art history degree that you don't intend to go for a doctorate for, you probably ought not go to college to have a happier life. But if you're going there to get a computer science degree, to get land a programming job like within 4 years, I think that's a pretty like sound goal.
I got a question. If somebody decides that they're just going to work as a retail worker, I'm just going to stock shelves for the rest of my life. Do you think that they should just not go to high school either, and they should just start working as soon as they can? Because that's the only way they'll have an easier life.
It depends. I think it's pretty tough to have a satisfying life on a
Middle
shelf
school.
stocker salary. But at the same time, as long as you understand like what limitations come along with that, I think it's fine. And in terms of like, should they go to high school or not? I think the 12-year education that we have is there to serve society in that everyone has a fundamental level of knowledge about the world. And in that respect, I think it's probably good that they continue to go to high school, because we need these people to ultimately vote and participate as a member of society. And if they're going to be a member of society, they ought to be educated to some functional level. I think maybe.
I'm not really sure that 12 years is enough for that in the world that we have. That's a tenth of your lifetime spent learning.
So-
A tenth?
I've got a little bit.
Wait,
I've got a little bone to. I mostly agreed with what Justin said, but I've got a little bone to pick, and that is, I think there actually is just a value to just any degree. I think there is some like there are some businesses where it's just like they'll be looking for any degree to like maybe hire like managers or something. But like art history specifically, I think you just don't want to necessarily pay like a big resort premium for something that doesn't have like a specific economic value. Like I think it's still worthwhile to try to get whatever degree, and it's still going to help. But like maybe just try to moderate how much over like a resort premium you're paying for like something like that. That's like my like so like maybe something like that. If you're like going to a commuter school makes more sense or something like that.
Maybe.
I think that college should be free. I think that people should be able to go to college for free, and I think that it should be a compulsory part of our education. I think 12 years is not nearly enough. I think the shit that we teach people in high school doesn't even begin to prepare them for what the real world has.
I think college should be. I think at the very least, community college and state schools should be free. I think
For commuters.
I think preparing people. I've always been in support of fixing education, fixing curriculum, and adding something like, Life 101 to kids, where like from kindergarten on they learn appropriate life lessons for that age. In high school, they'd be learning about like bank accounts, checks, taxes, changing tires, shit like that. In kindergarten, I don't know what you teach them. Like, don't be a dick.
Because like a lot of the expenses is coming from like the housing and accommodations. So I'm making these nice dorms, they're making these gyms, dining halls, blah blah blah. Like, and I definitely think it should be free, and that's way more achievable. If you just take that part out of it.
Sure.
Yeah, but just no life the education.
Yeah, I
part.
think room and board is separate. Like living on a campus and having all that stuff, those amenities is definitely separate.
I don't
think that that's the big. I mean, that might be a big cost on the back end of like why tuition has been raised as much as it is.
The reason why tuition, well, I believe most tuition goes to renovations and administration. Very little of it goes to education. But the other thing is, I don't think college should be compulsory. If college is compulsory, then I think 18 shouldn't be an adult. It should be, if college is 2 years, then 20. If it's 4 years, then 22. Because
I don't think I agree
that
with the compulsory thing. Because I think I think you could get in an apprentice program that would be like a really good education too, and that could be an alternative.
I don't think college is the answer, but like higher education. I don't think high school is enough. I don't think that we give people enough time to learn about this world before we throw them into it and force them to live in it. Especially with the way that social systems in America is set up today.
I think if you could fix education, which is fucking asking a lot, I think you could fix it, and the 12 years would be fine. Throw in a 13th if you want, but I would still call that high school. I wouldn't call it college.
Free college actually isn't like something that we've never had before here. Like in the like 50s, all the city colleges in New York were free. I think they might be again actually. From time to time here and there have been ways to get educated for free. For college?
I think isn't Stanford free?
I don't know.
I think if I'm thinking of what the school I'm thinking of, Stanford was started by like a gazillionaire couple that didn't have kids, and they're just like, let's just educate all the kids we can, and they started Stanford with their entire life savings, which was I think hundreds of millions of dollars.
But like, yeah, I mean, I definitely want the state to pay for people's college education, but I want to get my money's worth. Like, I don't want to pay for anybody's resort. I want to pay for like rubber to the road, like learning the bullshit like parts. I want my taxes to pay for that, but I don't want to pay for like all-inclusive resorts. I think that's
Taxes are paying for much worse than all-inclusive resorts. Don't you worry.
Fair.
I don't know. This is quite a big issue. One that I don't think we'd solve. At least not the four of us just sitting here. Maybe though, if this is something you guys are passionate about.
This is a little bit why I wanted to talk about the metaverse stuff, because we were talking about buying digital land and the importance of owning digital land.
Well,
and
we didn't get to this.
Can we mention how ahead of its time Second Life was? Can we?
Yeah, Second Life was sick.
Mention that.
Yeah. It's definitely true.
Genius.
Well, I think people have been clamoring for that for a while, for just another world, another life that they can go live. Which maybe if this one was a little bit shitty all the time, it wouldn't have that problem.
I don't understand the metaverse stuff. Isn't that just VR chat at this point?
Yes.
Kind of.
Like with false scarcities, like.
Yes, that's it. It's the false scarcity part. It's the creating a VIP area, an environment that like, only the elite can come in, because that makes people like Allan's dick real hard when they hear those words, because they want to be the elite and the select, and they want to be in.
Generally, yes. But I also don't give two shits about the metaverse. Like,
What did you guys think about that "Why are you
Now.
running" meme with all those ugly Sonics? Didn't be like that.
What?
Remember that meme? All those like.
He's talking about the what's the guy's name? The Ebola Sonic?
Oh, Uganda Knuckles?
Uganda Knuckles.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't Sonic. Sorry.
No, it was that guy.
So I thought that meme was hilarious, but then but like I was a little bit anxious that maybe it was racist.
Oh yeah, I feel the same way. Like
It is,
it
right?
is-
It's
it is-
very
it is-
racist,
it is
especially
very-
because you
very
called him Uganda Knuckles.
like so I was at work and Uganda Knuckles was really popular, and me and a couple of my coworkers were making Uganda Knuckles jokes, and I suddenly felt really shameful because one of our coworkers was actually from Ghana, and he just gave us like a death stare when we started doing it, and it was just like, oh no. Okay, then no more of these.
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably
because
for the
there
best.
was more funny about it than that, but like it I don't know, for me that was just like that just meant it's, I don't know, I felt like I had to try to like moderate how into that meme that I got, because like I don't know, that's not the hill you want to die on. You don't want to die on that hill to defend your right to meme that meme specifically if people are actually getting offended by it. But
Yeah, for sure.
so the thing is though, like, I think it's originally this quote from a movie, and like, it's just a funny scene from a movie. Like, I don't think appreciating that scene specifically, I don't think there's anything racist about that. But I think that it just the dark side of it is it's providing an opportunity to people they know that it's providing an opportunity for people that think it's funny because it's racist to join the joke. And then once enough people like that kind of climb on the boat, then that's actually what's going on, right? So that's the problem. I don't think, like, I don't know. That's my take.
Wait, say that one more time.
So there's a scene from this movie. There's this guy, like, there's a scene in this movie. I think it's a Ugandan movie.
Yeah, I understand where the
And it's
the
saying like,
Ugandan Knuckles.
why are you running? Why are you running? And like, it's just this.
Oh, okay.
It's just this kind of funny scene because it's like this person's running by and he's asking like why she's running. And that was originally like one of the things that they would say. They'd be like, this mob of people, they'd all be in this like Knuckles, and then the people start running away. They'd be like, why are you running? Why are you running? And they all like chase them. And that was like kind of part of the original meme. But the thing is, then they're all doing this voice, and then you know on the internet you're gonna get people that like think that the reason why they're doing that is just to mock people that talk like that.
Right.
And then they start doing it too, and then it's like once people are intending it that way, that actually will in short order like poison the essence of like what's going on.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Like anytime you have a group of people making some kind of ironic joke, it will attract people who unironically believe in that joke. That's how the Donald subreddit started. That's what happened to 4chan. It's happened to a number of things. Like that's the inevitability of it.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's how like some of the flat Earth.
So maybe we
like,
stop
Facebook
joking about
started.
stuff like that every once in a while.
Man,
I can't-
like
our entire democracy was turned on its fucking head as a joke, and that is sad.
yeah, he memed his way to the presidency. It was really bad. Like meme warfare is real, unfortunately.
So somewhere else in the metaverse, the Jon Stewart Stephen Colbert ticket actually won.
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, they threw it away.
Man.
Honestly,
God.
it was like a kind of just a unforced error. Like that huge rally. Like back then, I think that was kind of a hint. That was the way things were going in the future. It's just going to be jokes were the real thing now.
I think if they had unironically pushed it, I think they would have gotten
They would have won.
a pretty substantial chunk of the vote.
I think they just would have won.
I don't think they would have won, but they would have changed the way things are run for better.
I don't think the internet or that culture was prevalent enough at that time.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
went to that rally. I went rally to restore sanity. Did anybody else go to that?
Yeah, we were there.
It was
me,
Tori.
who Who else was there? I don't remember who else was there.
It was an absurd amount of people. It was definitely more people than were there for Trump's inauguration. I can guarantee that. Like, we could not even get through that crowd.
No, we did. We formed the fucking train, man. Tori was up front.
It was difficult.
And he was just like, we literally just like fucking slowly plowed through everyone, like snaking our way through. And we got fairly close to the front before we hit like the wall of people.
Yeah, I'm very confident in that from, I don't know, I guess I can try to fact check myself, but I will be shocked if somebody like looking up the numbers recorded more people at Trump's inauguration than that Jon Stewart like rally in DC. Almost positive. Anyway.
Do we think that Karen is a slur?
So I think Karen has just become code for woman.
You think it's just straight up misogyny at this point?
Yeah.
I don't necessarily. I think it's become a slur for a specific type of woman. I still think it's a slur, even if it is like. I mean, there's tons of slurs that people still say all the time.
I mean yes, but they're slurs. Is it a slur or not?
Well, if a group of people gets offended by it, then I think that's.
And it becomes a slur. Right? You can't tell people that you aren't allowed to be offended by this, but
Right,
you
yeah.
can say, I'll still say it.
So, like, a slur is a pejorative based on someone's appearance, right?
I don't think
By that definition, like, we all know what a Karen looks like. We all know what a Karen sounds like.
An
does a Karen
insult or
look like?
allegation about someone that is likely to insult them or damage their reputation. That sounds like exactly what calling someone a Karen is.
Right, yeah.
What does a Karen look like, Justin?
I like probably white woman, could be fat or skinny. Got that cropped, bobbed haircut
like
in the back.
angular haircut.
Like, yeah, the angular haircut. But not necessarily, just like typically so. But angry, yelling at staff.
You just described 99% of women on Long Island.
Damn, that's racist. That's sexist, dog. That's real sexist.
Can't believe you'd say that, Allan.
No, but like, whatever, like, we pick a word, pick apple.
So,
like,
here's-
if we start calling a group of people apples, like in a negative way.
Here's my hint that it is just become misogyny. So it's like, say I'm sitting there and I'm just a really irritable, like, I don't know. I work at KFC and I'm in a bad mood. I work at KFC and I'm in a bad mood, and then somebody comes up to the counter. It's a woman. So what is she gonna do that's gonna make her a Karen? And I think in this situation, if I'm just like a sexist, irritable guy working at KFC, I think what she needs to do to be a Karen is just literally say anything to me at all. And then she's just a Karen. It's like, before she was saying anything, not a Karen. Then she says like literally anything, Karen. Like I
So
think
you're saying that people who use that term are doing it sexistly.
I don't. Well, it's the same thing as the Uganda. It's the same thing as that other thing. I don't know. It just like there's a half-life to these things where they're after which just I don't know.
Okay, it sounds like we're all in agreement that it's a slur.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Dude, like, it's like pick a group of people, call them apples in a negative way, make it go viral, and then apple will be a slur. Like, it's just how that shit works.
Yeah, like man, that
I
is
don't
kind of
understand what you're
happening.
saying, Allan.
So I think he's saying like there's some
Anything can be a
progression
slur.
of language that over time becomes a bad word.
Like try hard in video game is I think close to a slur.
Oh yeah, the most oppressed groups.
I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
exactly.
I'm just saying.
really know.
I'm just saying.
I mean, by that same logic, Nazi could be a slur. Because you're saying, oh, well, I'm intending to insult this person by calling him this, which makes it a slur. I don't think that necessarily means it's bad. You're just defining it as something. Like, try hard, sure, try hard's a slur. It doesn't mean I'm going to stop calling fucking sweaty nerds try hard.
I wouldn't call try hard a slur, like, because it's not based on someone's appearance.
No, it's
That's
based
actually one of the
on
most
opinion,
wholesome
not appearance.
slurs too, because it's like I don't know. So people that are into competitive video games, they're proud of the fact that they try hard.
Right.
And people that make fun.
Derogatory or insulting term applied to a particular group of people. I don't think appearance has anything to do with it. I think that it has to do with like a community. Like you have a pejorative term for a community.
I think tryhard's like the perfect insult, actually.
It is.
I like how tryhard is turned into sweaty. I actually like that. I think sweaty is a much
Sweaty.
more insulting
I like
word
sweaty
than tryhard.
too. Yeah.
This
Because it's gross.
This is now a thing.
Yeah,
It
it's
is
like,
kind of the
dude, look at that
progression.
guy sweating behind his computer.
Kind of like-
He's
Like a
just
sweaty, like a
he's
sweaty
nasty.
play in Among
He
Us.
stinks.
Yeah,
Like-
sweaty
Yeah.
play, like when you're
Sweaty-
when you're
sweaty
playing so hard that your
commonly
palms are
means
sweating.
I don't know. I think I'm okay with my definition. Like, if you just use it to a negative connotation against a group, then it becomes a slur. So yes, Nazi is a slur. It's a description, but if those people get offended by being called a Nazi,
And if you're
That's
intending
just
to offend them by calling
Right,
them a Nazi,
right.
which I assume you would be, right?
I don't know.
I think-
Somebody identifies as a Nazi. That's different from saying you're a fucking Nazi,
right,
right?
right. It's like I had a fleeting example, which I know.
Yeah, I still think there's like a difference between a slur and a pejorative or just an insult. But that line is kind of blurry, so I don't know. I can't really defend it right now.
I think a slur targets a specific group. An insult, I can call you a dick.
Doesn't make that a slur.
Right. I think that'd be more like an insult. But if I called you a tryhard, that could be a slur, or a Nazi. That could be a slur.
I think tryhards may be close on some boundary between the two things, but I definitely class that as on the insult side.
I wonder if a point of it is making the object of the term non-human.
You're trying to.
You're taking their humanity away by saying you are not a person, you're not an individual, you are a part of this group that
Yeah.
I dislike.
You're trying to associate someone with the group in a negative way. Whether or not that's
I think that's important for a
dehumanizing.
term.
But there
I think that's
there isn't
very
necessarily like a
dehumanizing.
unified group of like tryhards. Like there isn't like tryhard central command and like every
There also
tryhard
isn't
gets their-
Karen Central Command.
Long Island.
Well, I think it's just women though. That's what I was saying.
Wow, Nate. I don't know which one was worse.
Well, I think Nate's point goes to him defining that Karen as just misogynistic rather than just like a slur, or categorizing it as a misogynistic slur, not just like one you can throw.
I don't necessarily agree because I don't think that it applies to all women. I believe it applies to a specific group of women, a particular group of women, which is why it's a slur and not just.
Sure.
I guess it still is misogynistic. I don't think those things are mutually exclusive. You can have racist slurs, misogynistic slurs.
Sure. Sure.
So I think you're right. Like it's misogynistic, but I don't think that's the core.
I mean, the
core
core
of
of
it.
it. The core of it, I always thought was just women who complain and berate people they presume to be under them. Generally, at a customer
Service workers.
customer service worker relationship.
But then the question is like, would people perceive that interaction the same way if it wasn't a woman? Like, would it be as irritating?
No, they'd be Ken.
It'd be a Ken, but I also think that those, I don't know, maybe the male one leads more to violence, and so that they're called Kens less, and because people are throwing hands.
Do people call them Kens? Really? I thought you'd be like a Kevin.
I think you're Kevin.
Yeah.
There was some.
I think you're
some
Karen and a
male-
Kevin.
Like a Kevin. I don't know. I think Kevin has a distinctly different feel. Kevin is like some.
Terry.
Well, I
Apparently.
think what we're
Male
discovering here
equivalent.
is that we just need a
Karen is
non-gendered
Terry.
description for this, and then the whole thing is much
Yeah,
more
it's asshole.
better.
Yeah.
You're just an asshole.
People are just being assholes, but we can't
Yeah.
call them assholes anymore because that's a bad word.
Wait, is anyone actually against asshole? I don't think any. I have never heard any sort of PC blowback against asshole.
I don't think there's a PC blowback. I don't think you can say asshole in the evening news.
Oh. Yeah, but I mean,
I think you might get. I think you might get censored if you try to say asshole on like most social platforms, right? You would
Really?
get like some kind of asterisk or something. Tries to censor in WoW. If anybody has their language,
I mean,
filter
there's like
active, it
there's,
counts as
there's
bad
like
language.
a language filter, I guess. But like as an insult, I don't think. Oh God. Oh no. Why did I do that? I searched asshole on Twitter. And it was just like some lady just pounding it on herself.
Well,
Okay.
The new WoW social contract, I think, would not let you call people assholes as well. Not just with the filter, but in terms of the social, their new
So,
like player contract.
so do you guys know the meme laughs in X? Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That meme's originally from laughs in Orcish, right? That's a WoW meme, isn't it?
I don't.
Oh, is
know.
it? It might be.
Didn't EverQuest have languages as well?
Oh no. It's
Subtitles mean?
Yes.
it's a Latino soap opera meme.
The X in Spanish meme was first used in reference to Soraya Montenegro, the antagonist of Mexican telenovela Maria.
Yeah, cries in
La
Spanish.
Barrio.
Cries in Spanish. Huh, okay.
Fantastic.
Guys in Spanish.
I could have sworn I saw like laughs in Orcish or something once in a while.
Probably.
I remember that meme being around
WoW has
early
generated
on,
a ton of memes.
but like I guess laughs in Spanish predates it. No, that's 2014.
No, that's 1995.
2011.
What?
Justin, did you?
I'm on the know your meme. Know your meme.
I feel like I understand what that means. I feel like I just know what
It
laughs
says
in Orcish means.
1995.
Oh, you're right. Might be.
I mean,
I've-
that's probably
I've
when it
been-
was.
I've been dead enough times and just seen somebody laughing in Orcish. I recognize the moment.
That's a personal bias, Nate.
It's that stun resist.
Here's the ending question: if you could live in any of the metaverses, multiverses, which one would you live in? Nate, go. Start us off.
Wait, sorry, can you repeat the question?
I need to go away.
If I can live in any metaverse,
any
Yeah.
multiverse.
any
Does it-
multiverse,
Does this include extra dimensions?
the culture series, yeah, I'd be in the culture series.
I might
You just want to live in that world. What's the culture series?
It's this like post scarcity like sci-fi, and I feel like I need to Google the author right now because I forget. It is by Ian M. Banks, and it's just I don't know. It's cool. Post scarcity. It's like just imagining like this world with all these AIs and robot people, and they all get along, and the galaxy's all colonized, and just school space stuff. It's kind of Star Trekky, but like
Yeah, it sounds a lot like Star Trek. It sounds a lot like Star Trek.
It's Star Trekky, but there's more AIs. It's like in Star Trek there aren't really that many AIs,
Data.
and it
Bud.
yeah, but it's like I mean if you have like super future computers, the AIs would be like superhuman, and there aren't that many sci-fis that really incorporate that in a way that like actually makes sense. But this one tries to. It's a lot of it's actually about the AIs.
Data's a superhuman.
I don't know.
I might live in Skyrim.
Just because you know that world so well.
I
You
spent
know,
a lot of
believe
time
Skyrim.
in Skyrim in VR. It's really pretty to look at. I have magic spells I can throw whenever I want, even if I just suck dick at magic. Like, I don't know. It seems pretty
Yeah,
cool.
you can find a scroll.
Yeah. I could do whatever I want, basically, because like you got to pay 50 gold if you kill someone. Like whatever you want. Not that it would kill someone, just that
Sure.
the fees would be minimal if I did.
Sure, Justin. Sure. Off the top of
Someone
my
thinks-
head, I'd say probably the world of Fairy Tale.
Interesting.
I get good.
Is that a
magic.
You wouldn't be
Metaverse?
excited if you saw like fairy tale characters in Fortnite. You wouldn't be like, oh, maybe I'll play. Like, there's a Natsu and he blows fire
There's
and jerks
not-
off dragons.
There's a Kelsier in Fortnite, and I really like the Sanderson Cosmere world, and that hasn't pulled me into Fortnite. I don't think Fortnite can do anything to pull me in. The closest thing they did was remove buildings, and I still didn't play. So there's nothing that they could do. Plus, I think there's a weird disconnect when anime overlaps into non-anime stuff. But
Fortnite already
I
has
was just
Naruto.
trying to find characters that you. Yeah, Fortnite does already have anime stuff. I was trying to find characters that you would actually resonate with, since you were saying if I could play Selly anywhere.
I could play Selly, dude. Like when I was playing Diablo 3, I was like, I would have so much more fun if I could play Selly or Narsaga in Diablo.
Then why don't you just create Selly or Nurse? Oh, I guess Diablo's not really. You can't really create a
Yeah,
character.
there's
in
no
Diablo.
character creator. You are carbon copy.
Pretty much.
Anybody playing V Rising?
I've seen a
heard
little
of
bit
it.
of it.
I have no idea what it is.
It seems like it's a little bit of Diablo mixed with Valheim. It's a survival version of a survival game that's isometric top down, like slasher looter. But there's like building and survival elements in it. I don't know. I picked it up. I think I'm gonna try and fuck around with it this week sometime.
How much is it?
40,
$20.
30,
20.
20.
20. That's not bad. Okay, maybe I'll
probably
maybe
good
I'll
on
give it a
Steam
fuck
Deck.
around with it. Probably.
Probably good on Steam Deck.
I'll try it. You tell me how it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, Fairy Tale, cool world, lots of magic. I would go there. What about you, Christopher?
Star Trek. But like next generation Star Trek.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I want to explore that space. I want to explore that galaxy, man. And I want to live in a world that has socialized healthcare and food and
Yeah, totally post scarcity.
You should
Yeah,
read the
That
culture
actually
series.
would be sick. That's actually a good choice.
I think I would like it, and I probably will at some point. I like the AI stuff. I read a book a while back called The Metamorphosis of Prime Intellect, and that same writer wrote a sci-fi series that's about exploring space and like how we would get there naturally, especially with like having AI that's based on like human consciousness, and like what that would do to the consciousness, especially if we like send them on 100,000 year journeys through space to like find a suitable planet to colonize, because that's like how long it would take. It's super interesting. I think you would like that, Nate. I think you would like the Metamorphosis of Prime Intellect too, because that's about like the creation of the singularity, like one AI that just controls everything. Yeah, Star Trek.
Fascinating.
You guys been playing anything, watching anything, doing anything?
Destiny. Solar 3.0 dropped. I'm really sour about it. It's awful. I hate it. I was more powerful yesterday than I am today, and
That's why you hate it?
Yes.
Is it more fun?
No. I could do less.
Oh my god.
It's awful.
I'm thinking about getting back into Disco Elysium. I just feel like there's so much in that game. Like I don't know. I really don't have time, but it's like it seems like it's worth it.
I've been playing a little bit more PUBG, and that game has such a high skill cap and skill ceiling that I have about, according to Steam, almost 500 hours on it, and I'm absolutely awful at it.
Dog.
Just dog.
Dog shit.
That's me in trials. Like I literally have 1,000 hours in Destiny at this point. I am garbage at trials for some reason. I think I was literally bottom 1% last season in survival.
Jesus.
Which is crazy to me because I'm like top 5% in everything else. It's just survival. I'm just like I'm just horseshit at, and I don't understand why.
Yep.
You just run in and start punching people and die.
Yes,
immediately.
man. Like
You do that in survival.
I don't
You
know
gotta
what.
hang
I don't know.
back.
Yeah.
But I also picked up Kingdoms and Castles, and that's been pretty fun.
What's that?
It's like it's kind of like a sim city builder, but based on like medieval
cool.
times.
You know what's crazy,
Very-
Alan?
What's that?
For the metaverse question, I almost said PUBG because I just
Ew.
like that. I just like that island.
You
It's
saw
just
the-
it's a very interesting island.
there are now four
Nate can live
extra
anywhere,
maps.
and he decides to live in battle royale.
Why? They could live anywhere on a Russian island.
It's just fascinating. I don't know. There's all these little nooks and crannies. Like that's what I really enjoyed playing that game. I would just try to go to one of the island without there would be anybody. Just like kind of walk around.
Age of Empire 4 is on Game Pass, Alan.
You appreciate it more if you
Let's
think
go play
you
that.
might die at any moment.
I canceled my Game Pass. I wasn't using it. I just realized I was paying like fucking like $16 a month to Microsoft for the past like 8 months.
That's how they get you.
I haven't even turned on my Xbox. Like I turned on my Xbox like 4 times in the past.
You can
6
use it on
months.
PC.
I know I can use it on PC, but at the time there was nothing I wanted to play. Ironically, I think there was something like this the day after I canceled it. I think I was looking for something to play, and the game I wanted to play was on Game Pass. And then I was like,
It's been good. I like it a lot. I just started playing Citizen Sleeper, which is like some weird kind of like space sim game. You are a synthetic body that has had a copied consciousness put into it and sold into servitude, and then you like escape to like the edge, this rim station, and then it's like living out the day by day in this rim station. It has a little bit of Persona in it, where like you like each day pick what you want to do for the day and like what endeavors you want to like take on. But it's all done by dice. Each day you get like a set number of dice that are rolled for you, and you use those dice to affect the outcomes of like different things that you want to do throughout the day. It's pretty cool. I've been enjoying it. It's got a really interesting story.
Gotcha. That sounds
It's good.
cool.
It's a good Steam Deck game.
That sounds like a mix of like 3 or 4 different movies off the top of my head, but that sounds pretty awesome.
And then Destiny.
Yes.
And I still haven't beat Elden Ring.
Yeah, I gotta go beat Elden Ring. God damn it.
Yeah, I'm super far from that as well.
I really want to beat it. I just haven't done it.
Yeah, cool.
All right, Christopher.
Anybody have anything to plug? Anything to talk about? Anything coming up?
ALCast next week. Join us again, folks.
See you later.
Sing us out, Christopher.
Bye.
Bye, guys.